Your son has some dark thoughts. He's been rejected, he's been humiliated, he's been overlooked, overwhelmed, and it's probably caused him to feel down a lot, and you've probably seen that. But what if I told you that these dark thoughts could actually be his greatest source of motivation and help him rise above whatever he's going through? So if you're new here, my name's Agam Duan. I'm a board certified psychiatrist. And so I'll just share with you in my life. So I've had dark thoughts and those have helped me in my biggest growth moments. So for example, I remember maybe a couple years ago, I was dating this girl and maybe for a couple months, and then like things just ended and like she had ended it. And so I could have, I was like that kind of came all of a sudden. I remember feeling very kind of a little bit emotionally overwhelmed and upset by that. Like I remember my neck would be getting hot constantly. And so I remember thinking like, okay, what do I do? So I just started channeling it hard into like bettering myself. So like I started going in the gym. That was the most consistent I was in the gym. I would go in the mornings at 5 a.m. before work, and I was going like 4 or 5 times a week. I was doing that. That's when I actually got into social media, because it was like right in like a year into COVID. And I was like, okay, well, let me really just like, because I've been thinking about it for a while. I'm like, okay, let me just go all in. And so, I started posting on TikToks. I was posting 3 TikToks a day. And I kept thinking, yeah, like, this will show her, like, she's gonna miss out on this, like, blah, blah, blah. Like those type of thoughts. Like, she can't wait till, it's not even can't wait till she sees. It's more like I'll show her, like, it's on her, like her loss, like those kind of things. But the important thing is that really helped me with motivation, and it helped me really stick through my, the new goals and stuff I was setting. Fast forward about 6 months later, we ended up reconnecting, and she was like, yeah, like I was watching your TikToks all the time. And I was like, hell yeah. But, so that gave me a little bit of satisfaction there. Even now, so, I recently, I'm not working at my job anymore, so because I lost it, just had some disagreements with leadership. But anyway, so because of that, I was like, oh man, it came out of all of a sudden too. And I have no negative feelings towards it, right? Like what's done is done. But I was like, okay, now let me channel this towards productivity and improving. And so that's when I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going into social media full time, like going to do this influencer thing full time. I'm going to just build my own business, build my own practice full time. Like it's going to be their loss that they, lost out on all this talent. Like it's screw them, like not even screw them, but it's more like, I'm sorry that they missed out on this. Like, but like these like almost like rageful thoughts. I don't really feel that way. Like I'm only have love and happiness that I want to express upon anyone. But it's like the dark thoughts in the back of my head, and I realize that I can use those as motivation to fuel it. And now I'm just like, and feel grateful for these bad moments that happen, because I'm like, yeah, because they give me the energy to level myself up. And so I only feel gratitude for the bad stuff that's happened. So, the point is that the dark thoughts can be very powerful. And so if your son's had something like that, what you can do is you can encourage him to actually channel it into productive things. For example, like guys usually go down 2 routes, right? Most guys are taught, okay, you got to suppress this anger, these rageful emotions, the shame, especially the anger. Like guys get shamed for anger a lot. So either they'll lash out destructively, right? Like that's when people who can't control themselves, they'll punch walls, or, for example, I have a friend and he started a business with his other friend, but then things went sour, and then the friend got really upset and he threw a drink at my friend. That is not an acceptable way or a healthy way to channel that anger, that negative emotion, right? So like guys have it, but they don't channel it properly. And the other way that they do it is that they'll just isolate, they'll withdraw, they'll go into the games and just kind of segregate from the world. And like I'm more like that. I'm that second type, right? I just bottle stuff up. Like I don't share and discuss things. But the key is, right, like it's so much that gives you so much strong emotional energy that now you get to, your son will get to choose. Like he doesn't have to just suppress it or express it out in a destructive way. He can actually redirect it towards something positive. So now as a mom, you can really help him find out what his goals are. Like, okay, what kind of things does he want? If he's in school, does he want good grades? Does he want to go to college? Does he want to get a new girlfriend? Or does he want to become more attractive? Or does he want to make more money? Like whatever his thing is, like you can really help him. Does he want to be better at a sport? Like whatever his thing might be, like you can really help him channel it. Now that's the key. And then now the better relationship that you and him have, the more easier that you can come to that conclusion as to what it is that he wants to do, and channel that motivation. right? Like see, for me, I decided, okay, I want to channel it towards bettering myself, bettering my business, bettering my own like physical attractiveness and all of that. And so bettering my money. And so I use that motivation as fuel to do that. These bad emotions aren't really negative, and almost talking about it too much is actually can be counterproductive too, because oftentimes when you talk about it, you dissipate that energy, and then you're like, okay, I'm at calm and I'm at peace, but then it doesn't channel you to take any different action, and then like the same problem might come again. So for examples that you can use, okay, like she rejected me, she didn't like me, like, okay, good. Like now you can find someone who does, or you can become so big that like no one can ignore you. Or, you know, if he loses his job or does well poor in school, right? Like for me, it was like, okay, good. Now I can build something that no one can take from me. Or if he feels like a nobody, you can be like, perfect. Okay, now you become so relevant that nobody will miss you, that nobody will not acknowledge you, right? And so obviously like going too far down those things has its own destructive paths too, but that's not the point of this video. For example, with athletes, I remember hearing this quote is that maybe it was like Kobe Bryant or something who said that like what most athletes, the reason they're successful is not because they have something that you don't have, is because they lack something that you don't. They lack something that you don't, meaning that's like their emptiness, their shame, their sense of deprivation that they feel that propels them to excel in that world. So, you know, you don't want to try to fix his feelings. Like that's a very, almost like a feminine thing to do, right? Like, hey, like it's okay, just talk to me. Or if you're a dad, right? Like a masculine thing to do is like, okay, whatever, you'll get over it. Like it's neither that. You can certainly, you want to sit with the feelings, like acknowledge, help him put a name to them, and then like purposely try to help him redirect it towards more positive, creative endeavors, right? There's also nothing wrong, in my opinion, with the prove them wrong mindset, as long as like it doesn't become toxic and it doesn't govern your life, and as long as he doesn't have a negative feeling towards like whatever the thing is. It's more like you use those negative feelings that he has to channel it into something better, but he doesn't need to feel angry or upset at the other parties or whatever that may have been involved. And then lastly, you know, what you can do is that you can track all the progress that you have too. So you have this negative emotion, help him channel it towards something better, and then you start tracking the improvements that he makes. And it's once you get to that tracking, then that will become sustaining of itself, the positive reinforcement. So for example, for me, tracking in the gym, it's very easy because I was tracking my strength and my strength was going up. Social media, it's easy because you can track followers. Business, it's easy because you can track money. All of these things that I can start tracking. Even my patient care, I track, you know, you have better results, you get more patients. So all of that basically to say is that take that dark motivation and help him harness it into something positive. And I think that will really make a difference in your son's life. And so if you want personal help with this, then like feel free to book a consult in my bio, and we'll see if we're a good fit to work together.